Alright, so that was our first viewer email. Let's get through them a little more quickly because I got a lot of them and the cigar's getting in there. What do we got here? KB1NYD. This is from comments. Never knew they were collectible jars, but wow, the price is crazy. Great vids, love cigars, and the more I learn about them, the better I get about which ones I choose to enjoy. Absolutely. Absolutely. And now, and from that comment, you know, I can really see why, you know, people want it. I guess people are saying, look, this guy, he's doing all these reviews, fake or fine, blah, blah, blah. It sounds like he knows his shit about Cuban cigars. Let's hear what he has to say about flavor-wise, this one, that one. You know, maybe you guys trust my opinion. I don't know. And that's where an actual cigar review really differs from a collectible jar, collectible box review, which we still will be doing for those of you who love that, because you are out there. And it differs, you know, because, you know, somebody like him who's, like he says, he wants to make an educated choice before he buys, before he spends his hard-earned money. He can be watching this and saying, you know, I really like my cigars to have a heavy, salty, you know, heavy tobacco flavor. And from what he's saying, that cigar is rather, you know, mild. And I think I'm going to pass on that one right now. It's not really, it doesn't really sound like it's for me. Or, you know, I love a really nice, mild to medium cigar in the morning that's not too heavy on a fresh palate. You know, from what he's saying, this cigar sounds like it would be a gem in the morning. And there you go, and there you have it. And that, you know, by watching reviews, you get to pick out your cigars, and I absolutely agree with you, KB. There you go. Cameron Myers, my favorite show is back! Exclamation mark times 5. My day is perfect now. Okay, when I first read that, I said, is this guy being sarcastic? I can't really, you know, I can't really tell. But apparently, it doesn't seem that he is. Your favorite show? Your favorite show? You must not watch too much fucking TV, my friend. But thank you, all the same. My favorite show. I'm flattered. I'm absolutely flattered. I'm glad that I am your favorite show. I'm glad to be the star of your favorite show. Thanks for watching. Michael Opus. Back in business, baby. You know what? I put that there because I wanted everybody to know Michael Opus is my lifelong great cigar guy. Very, very knowledgeable. Worked at a cigar shop just like me. My friend. It's been way too long. I got to get up there. We got to smoke some stogies together. This coming spring, summer, you know, our month, in May, June, you know. Last time I was up there, we smoked I think, I got to look at the box date again to be sure, but it was either a 98 or 99, a Gloria Cubana Taino, which was absolutely phantasmal. Phantasmal. I mean, the thing was just great. The thing was great. The one I picked happened to be a little plugged, you know, and it had a burn issue, and it was plugged, and I had to cut about a ½ inch of the end off to get a good draw. But once I did that, and all that aside, I would still give that cigar fucking 10. It is a cigar I will remember for the rest of my life. And, you know, I've always been a La Gloria guy, even before that, simply because I used to love the Metal d'Or number 2s, 1s, their standard cigars. But once I had that Taino, it really made me, it just blew me away. It blew me away. It took an already favorite brand of mine and put it on a whole new pedestal. So, that was that. Mike, anytime you want, make a fucking video and we'll add it to the show. You know, that's the way it was supposed to be, me and him doing videos. And do something, man. He's fucking busy. This guy works his ass off. He's got 3 kids. Forget it, man. I don't think he'll be doing one, but you never know. You may have a guest star. Wish we had a co-star. Very nice. Comment on this in a minute. Nick B. I smoked a lot of Cuban cigars and haven't seen one that doesn't make an ash like that. That's a pretty easy way to tell if cigars are Cuban. You know, I tend to agree, and he's talking about, he commented on the Magnum46 video, the vintage Magnum, and I commented, I showed the ash up close in the camera. Here's the ash again, you know, on this one, and that's a Cuban ash. It's darker in color. It's more mottled, grayish and blackish even in some areas than most of the ashes you're used to seeing on non-Cuban cigars. And it always does this flaky thing, you know? Like the roll is just like, because there's no stems or bullshit in the middle of the leaves, so they flake. So that's a Cuban ash, and I agree. When I light up a Cuban cigar and I start to get an ash like that, even if I got a bad one or a dud or a sick cigar and it doesn't taste that great, if I see that ash and everything else checks out, I'm pretty sure it's still Cuban. It's a very good sign. We're at about the less than an inch from the halfway point, half inch, and this thing is starting to happen. Really, really, really nice. Very bready now. The cocoa bean flavor that was, you know, really tense on the middle of the tongue and everything is really kind of subsiding and easing out, and I'm just getting a lot of baking bread and an overall woody type flavor. That is really nice, and I'm telling you, this thing has killer aroma. Killer aroma. And you know, I think one of the reasons I could smell it so much is because it's really not overpowering. It's even a little under. It's very mild on the palate. So it's really, you know, when they say an aromatic type cigar, you may even see online some vendors describe La Gloria Cubanas as aromatic type cigars. They're not talking about in the American sense that the cigar's been infused with a whole bunch of bullshit. They're saying that the cigar is enjoyed more for its amazing aromas and fragrances than for the actual flavor. This seems to be a very aromatic cigar here. The cigar is really starting to pick up on flavor. It seems that the further down I get, the more flavor I'm getting. Maybe it's from the tars accumulating up and then burning again. Maybe it's from the blend itself. But whatever it's from, I've got a little addition of salt and spice coming in. And that's nice. I like that. I think the cigar is going from a mild to medium to a medium. I am now going to remove we all know what we're smoking here, so I'm going to remove the Magnum46 band. It's getting too close for comfort to the foot of the cigar, so let's just put that over here. And I've also made a promise to myself. When I was working at the cigar shop, I collected literally hundreds of bands, all different bands from all different types of cigars. Always wanted to get one of those little books that I could put them all in. But I also want to get a little cigar journal book. And so I've been saving the bands of all the Cuban cigars I've been smoking recently, and I think I'm going to start taking notes on that kind of stuff. Because it's hard for me in my mind, because there are only, you know, I think 27-ish Cuban cigar brands, dates play a very big part, huge part when it comes to Cuban cigars. You can have a box of these from now that are great. You can have a box of these from, you know, 2 years later, 2016 comes out and they're terrible. So it plays a huge part, and so I really want to start remembering, you know, like if this was a absolutely stellar, phenomenal cigar, I want to have that recorded so I know. That way, in the future, when I see somebody selling vintage boxes and I see a 2013 up, I'll be like, ah, let me pick that up. Or, oh no, that cigar was fucking terrible. So, very nice. Very nice. It is a little young on the nose, you know. And for some reason, I mean, I was blowing it through, usually it's the other way around. I would blow it through my nose, and there's, you know, in the beginning, because it's the first pass through your nasal cavity, is a little burn, and then it's smooth as hell because it's Cuban tobacco. It was smooth as hell, and now I'm blowing it through my nose, and it's burning a little, so, I don't know. Is it me? I don't know. Let's get to another viewer email. Northport Oldies. If you remember, I'm the guy who asked if you died. Glad you're making videos again. I'm glad too, my friend, and I'm especially glad that I'm not dead. Thank you very much. Who's this? Mac Michael 94. I'm from Canada, and I bought a jar of the Deliciosos, the Cuban regional edition cigar, the Cuban La Gloria Cubana jar, when I went to Cuba for $230. That was the extent of his comment. Wow. Fucking lucky, man. If they're real, you know, $230 is a great price. And first of all, even though that jar is selling for crazy prices right now, when it first came out, I don't know exactly when you bought it. When it first came out, I remember seeing it online for like $450, $500. It wasn't $800. It wasn't $1,000. It wasn't $2,000. It was like $400 or $500. So to spend $230 in Cuba, being that it's still in Cuba, it hasn't been exported, imported from anybody else. There are no taxes on it, exceeding the whatever you pay in Cuba. $230 not a bad deal. So congratulations on that. But what I will say is, that's just fantastic. Now you can use some of that money you have left to pay for all the fucking taxes on your Canadian Cuban cigars. Damn, it's rough over there, man. I think taxes are bad in the United States on cigars. Forget it. Cuban cigars in Canada are among some of the most expensive. They're extremely expensive from England because of the exchange rate, dollar versus pound, and they're extremely expensive in Canada simply because of the taxes. There was a site, that reminds me, there was a site, I think it was called Canadian Cigar, VCC, so I didn't get that one in here. Somebody asked me about that. Something, we'll get to that some other time, but the prices were outrageous. Anyway, we'll get to that some other time. There was a whole to-do. Let's see what else we got here. David Brown, for your info, that Cuba Gloria jar auctioned for over $2,000. Thanks for letting me know. I would have been really happy to find that out from you if I didn't know it already. I think I said it somewhere before. Cigar 1, it went for $2,040. But there's also another auction on Cigar 1 after it that it went for like $800. So supply and demand. That jar is still available actually online in certain areas for about $1,500 to $2,000 depending on where you go. Let's see what else we got here. Dent 6767. Any of that stuff can be faked. The only real way to know is to buy them in Cuba. Well, yes, any of it can be faked. The only real way to buy them is to buy them in Cuba. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Just because you buy them in Cuba doesn't fucking mean they're real. Not every Cuban cigar in Cuba is real. In fact, there are a torrent of fakes in Cuba because one of the main things tourists do when they go to Cuba is go buy Cuban cigars. And they are expensive. And, there's a lot of ways that they do it. Factory workers are allowed their own amount of tobacco a day. They can put together a box for themselves. They can use all the stuff from the factory. It's a box of Monte Cristo. They use a Monte Cristo box. They use the bands. They wrap up their cigars, but they're not really Monte Cristo cigars. In that sense, there's a whole bunch of scams they pull on people. Glass top boxes of Esplendidos they started in Cuba. So that's really kind of a ridiculous statement to say the only way to know if they're real is to buy them in Cuba. That's bullshit. One thing is that Cuban cigars in America are a bit of a legend because they're illegal here. Everywhere else in the world, they're legal. You can get great Cuban cigars from a lot of different places. I would say to be safe, if you're shopping retail for Cuban cigars, not on the internet, go to a La Casa del Habano shop. So there are a lot of places besides Cuba you can get real Cuban cigars, including online. And it's not about going to fucking Cuba, thank God. It's about knowing your shit. So you're wrong about that. Sorry. What else do we got? Cigar's delicious. Really nice. Making our way into past the halfway point. Still in the second third pretty much. And this cigar just has me really feeling good, really relaxed, has me feeling really nice, and I like it. It's really turning out to impress me. The flavors are really coming around. Started out very mild, you know, and now I got just a whole bunch of stuff going on. Including a very, very, very nice, very nice bready flavor that is developing. You know, when I was saying before, there's kind of a bready, woody flavor here. That bready flavor is really coming out, and it's got some real nice. What I was talking about before, that salt, you know, that you get, that salty taste. That's really, really coming out, and a little dash of spice on top of it all. So this cigar really went from mild to medium within a couple of pulls, somewhere in the middle. It's great. Very, very good. Let's see. As we're tooting along.